Over the last few years, something strange has been happening in Kenya. TikTokers are dying, and not just any deaths, most of them accidents. Some just disappeared out of nowhere. There was no warning, there were no answers. Like Millie, she literally predicted her own death.
If anything really happens to me, cause sioni kama hata December nitafika. Nimechoka. Nataka tu nilale peacefully kwa nyumba yangu. Muambie wakuje mwili wangu.
Millie isn't the only one. We've lost several young TikTokers who died under mysterious circumstances. And to this day, most Kenyans still don't know what really happened. So, what happened? Are these just a pattern of tragic coincidences? Or is there something darker we are not seeing? In this video, we are diving into the Kenyan TikTokers who died in strange, sudden, and sometimes suspicious ways. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have, thanks for subscribing. TikTok has taken over Kenya in a big way. It's where people go to laugh, to share, and to be seen. It's turned unknown people or names into overnight stars. Some became role models, others are just entertaining, but they all had one thing in common. They were loved by many, and one of the most loved TikTokers and now mourned was Millie. Before she became a TikToker, she was Milka Nyatuga, a young woman from Nakuru, firstborn in a family of 8. Life wasn't easy. At just 18 years old, she opted to try sex work to survive. That never happened. Her life changed when she met a supportive foreign man who became her husband. They moved to Germany and had a child, but that marriage did not last. The husband was abusive, and so Millie came back to Kenya to begin a new life. That's when she joined TikTok later on, and it changed everything for her. And because she was always honest and open about her life, many people started following her. But what really made her famous was her relationship with her ex-boyfriend, a doctor people knew as Doc or Daddy. Their chemistry was clear. They danced together, cooked together. Sometimes she even fed Daddy on camera, and people loved them.
Hey, what's it?
It was heartwarming to watch. They seemed to be in love, but behind the scenes, things weren't so perfect. What looked like a dream couple online was something else entirely offline. Millie later opened up about what she called emotional abuse. She described Daddy or Doc as a narcissist. For example, Millie said that Daddy allowed his ex-girlfriends to insult her, and he just stood there, said nothing, and sadly, it only got worse. Millie said that she found disturbing stuff on his phone. She accused him of medical malpractice, but the most shocking part, she claimed he made advances towards her teenage daughter. That was the very thing that made her abandon her relationship with Daddy, and she left for good.
Do you know what Doc did to my daughter? Sijaisema hii. Nilituma Doc, huyu ni mtoto wake. Hata kama si biological, huyu ni mtoto anafaa kuprotect. Doc anaenda kuchukua mtoto wangu. He wants to kiss my daughter. My daughter.
After the breakup, she changed the whole vibe online. The fun videos were gone. Instead, she started sharing advice with her followers, talking about life, healing, and relationships. From the unexpected breakup with Daddy or Doc, she found love again. Millie got married again. It was a simple civil wedding, but a private one. The new husband was called Odeke, but barely a month later, Millie was dead. She died in a Nakuru hospital on June 3rd, 2025. Millie Doc's family officially confirmed her passing, attributing it to health complications. During a TikTok live, one of her family members explained that Millie had a growth in her stomach. Doctors had recommended surgery to remove it, but after the operation, things took a turn for the worse. Millie started bleeding heavily inside and needed a blood transfusion. She was discharged after 3 days in stable condition, but her health quickly got worse. Her kidneys started failing and doctors put her on medication. On June 2nd, 2025, she began dialysis. For a short while, she seemed to be getting better, but the damage was already too much. Her family later confirmed that she passed away suddenly in the early hours of the night. and the cause was acute kidney failure. But many didn't believe that story. This is because before she died, Millie posted a sad and scary video. She talked about her children, about dying, and about feeling unsafe. She said that her life was in danger, but she already made plans to protect her kids.
I know I'm in danger. Nishapanga watoto wangu. If I might die, watoto wangu wako tu sawa. But nataka nikikufa nikuwe nimesaidia mtu.
In the video, she also said some shocking things about her ex-husband, Doc.
Kama wewe ni patient na uliwahi tibiwa optical pale side za 58, jua akona picha zako ukiwa operation. Alipiga picha, samahani, ulijifungua mtoto, wale watoto wako na vichwa kubwa, macho kubwa, akona picha zako. This dude amejaza filamu za ngono kwa simu yake na ni filamu za watoto tupu. Nyumba yake haijakosa zile madawa za kutoa mimba. Nyumba yake haijakosa, hadi anauzanga hizo madawa chini ya maji. Guys, if anything happens, na kama wewe ni patient wake, like 3 months ago, alikupatia dawa, ukampigia simu usiku wa manane ukilia, ukisema umekuwa wazimu. Yes, it is true.
The death of Millie Wadok was so abrupt, and many are still asking questions. Why did her health fail so quickly? Why did she talk about being in danger? Even public figures like Esther Passaris demanded a full investigation, saying her untimely death raises serious concerns. I call upon the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI Kenya, to conduct a thorough and transparent probe. The Chief Government Pathologist, Dr. Joason Oduor, should be urgently involved. Millie was laid to rest on June 13th, 2025, but there are stories that even that wasn't what she wanted. She had wished to be cremated. Instead, she was buried. And the burial budget was huge. About 300,000 for food, 100,000 for casket, and 200,000 for family clothes. People were even asking, why would someone need 200,000 for clothes? But I'm not even sure if the 200,000 clothes were bought. In fact, I'm not even sure if all that money was even contributed. Anyway, let's talk about the next big TikToker, and that's Baba Mona. And on TikTok, he became famous for giving raw, relatable advice, especially to the young people. He did not do comedy skits like the others. He didn't chase clout. He just gave advice, just simple but deep talks about life.
Otek, mta sijaribu kuscroll. Wanaume nilishawachanua. Niliwaambia, anytime unakutana na dem hapa social media, ama unakutana naye mahali tu na umuombe namba na akupe bila maswali, yani hawa anakupea namba haraka haraka na kuambia kweli dem ni mkora na hakuna kitu utafanyia hiyo namba. Hiyo namba amekupea tu ndio ache kumsumbua. Mimi sijui utaongea naye.
And most of these videos were going viral. He had over 250,000 followers, and some videos were getting around 2 to 3 million views. That's a lot of views on TikTok. One of his last videos showed him dancing to Angla music with his daughter. It went viral after his death, not because of a trend, but because of the pain people felt watching that video, knowing that both of them were gone. Sadly, Baba Mona didn't die alone. He passed away in a tragic accident alongside his young daughter Mona and his 2 sisters. 4 people from the same family gone just like that. And what makes it worse, the whole thing might have been avoidable. Yes, the accident happened on February 24th, 2023. He was headed to Kisumu County with his daughter and sisters, but the car they were in, it had problems from the start. His brother later said that the car wasn't okay. The engine had issues. Baba Mona even told the car owner something wasn't right, but the owner allegedly ignored the warning, saying that maybe it was just low fuel, but then the tank was full. They were supposed to leave by 5 a.m., but because of the car issues, they left at 6 a.m. That delay, combined with mechanical failure, may have contributed to the accident, which happened in Londiani. His mom tried calling, but no one was answering. Later, it was confirmed that they were all gone. Their bodies were taken to the Muhoroni Sub-County Hospital mortuary, then later to Kisumu's Star mortuary. Baba Mona was buried in Awasi, and the internet couldn't believe it. People were heartbroken, especially the TikTokers. Now, the TikTok community flooded his last videos with messages. Everyone remembered him as the guy who gave advice about life, family, struggle, and love. Now, after the news broke, so many people asked questions. How did this happen? Why didn't he just fix the car? What if they didn't travel that day? Why didn't the owner take the engine problem seriously? It wasn't just a car accident. It was a mix of bad decisions, ignored warnings and bad luck, and because of that, 4 lives were gone. People started sharing theories. Some blamed the car owner, some questioned why Baba Mona trusted the vehicle at all, and then there were those who believed it was just fate. Anyway, the next TikToker died mysteriously, and honestly, no one really expected it to happen, and that is Chira. Chira was one of those people you couldn't ignore. He was loud, very loud, but honest, emotional, and always online.
Naitwa Chira, Brian Chira, and I'm a star.
But nobody expected Chira to die so suddenly. His death shocked people, and after it happened, people had a lot of questions. Too many questions. Let's rewind a bit. Chira's life started with struggle. His mom passed away when he was just 8 years old, and that kind of loss really affects a kid, and was raised by his grandmother from then on. And even though she did her best, life wasn't easy. You could see that pain in him. Yes, he was loud and sometimes calm, but you could see it. As he got older, he started speaking out more, especially online.
Naitwa Chira, Brian Chira, Kife, Andrew Kibe, akini matafuta kimana niwewe tu, cause your beards, oh my god, you are, where? Me, I want you, Ebu come kiss this people.
He shared things that most people kept quiet. He openly said he was HIV positive. He talked about drinking too much, fighting depression, and feeling lonely. But he didn't say these things for sympathy. He just said them with no filters. And what's wild is that instead of people shaming Brian Chira or attacking Brian Chira for his honesty, people loved him for that. Brian Chira stood out for just being himself. And his rise to fame was actually totally accidental. In December 2022, Chira was randomly interviewed on television after witnessing a road accident.
Jina lako ni nani na ni nini haswa ilitendeka?
Naitwa Brian Chira. And I saw the whole accident. It happened that a lorry was coming up from the other side and there was a matatu.
And that clip blew up. Maybe because of his unique English accent or the confidence he had. It was funny, it was catchy, and just like that, he went viral. Now, many people who get popular this fast also disappear that fast, but not Chira. He took that moment and built something. He dominated TikTok. He grew so fast for the simple reason that Brian Chira wasn't trying to be perfect. He was just himself, open, shameless, and unapologetic. That's how the Chira clan started. Its fans were more like a crew. They followed every video, every comment, and every live. He made people laugh, he made them think, and sometimes he made them worry. But that's what kept them coming back. Chira never won big awards, never got television shows or brand deals like other influencers, but that didn't matter. His real prize was the connection he built with people online. Chira's TikTok account had close to 500,000 followers, and the bond with his fans was strong, which is why his death was so painful. On March 16th, 2024, news broke that Brian Chira had died in a road accident. He was out with friends in Kiambu, and according to police, Chira had been drinking. A friend was giving him a ride on a boda, but for some reason, Chira jumped off and ran into the road, and that's when a lorry hit him. The driver didn't stop, just disappeared, and Chira died right there on the spot. But after the news came out, so many different stories started flying around. Some people said it didn't make sense. Others said maybe he was running away from something or someone. Some fans even blamed the people he was with that night. Everyone had a theory. No one had the full story or the truth. All you know for sure is he was gone and nobody was ready for it. His burial happened 10 days later in Gitei village, Kiambu County. Over 5,000 people showed up. There were even more, I guess. TikTokers, fans, and random strangers. It was supposed to be a peaceful goodbye. Sadly, it wasn't. Yes, many fans showed up, but the event was chaotic. People were everywhere, filming everything, others dancing, and there's more. But that was not an issue. Some people even called it love, and maybe because Chira had a big following. And his death trended for weeks. Many posts were made on both X and Facebook. TikTok, where he was big, was flooded with videos, conspiracies, sad videos, and drama. Now, the fans, especially on TikTok, raised about 8 million for his funeral, and a big portion was used to build a house for his grandmother and siblings, and also to help the family in other things. Whether the whole amount was used, nobody really knows, as the grandmother came back demanding for a new house, and Kenyans were furious. Anyway, the death of Brian Chira was painful and confusing. It left too many questions. Maybe we'll never know the full truth of what happened that night. Maybe we don't need to. What matters is that Brian Chira lived loud, loved people, and left something behind that no one can ignore. Now, there's another TikToker who died just 2 days after Chira died. His name was Chongin, a comedian. I hope I said that name right. Chongin was a rising star from Bomet who made a name for himself as a hilarious Kalenjin content creator. The guy was funny, simple, and represented his culture proudly. Chongin wasn't one of those flashy mainstream comedians. He stayed local, used his Kalenjin culture and language in his content, and he managed to build a solid fan base, mostly Kalenjin fans, and his jokes weren't for everyone. They were for his people, and they loved him for that. Now, on March 18th, 2024, Chongin was in a matatu in Bomet. That matatu crashed into a tractor, and 5 people died on the spot, including Chongin. Just like that, he was gone. And this is the part that made the whole thing even shocking. Chongin had just posted an emotional tribute to Brian Chira, who died in a road accident 2 days earlier. Yeah, 2 days. It didn't feel real. It felt weird. And Kenyans started wondering. First, there was Chira, then Chongin, all gone because of accident. It felt like something was wrong. What was going on with all these accidents, especially in the TikTok community? Sadly, in that same year that TikTok lost Brian Chira and Chongin, another TikToker also died in October, and that's Tabitha Gatwiri. Now, Gatwiri was one of those most loved TikTokers in Kenya. She wasn't loud. She didn't chase scandals. She just made people laugh, and that's something most people liked. Her content was simple, short skits about everyday life. It was creative and relatable content. But on October 31st, 2024, fans woke up to heartbreaking news. Tabitha Gatwiri had been found dead, alone in her house, and she was just 29 years old. Gatwiri's comedy journey began at the university. She enrolled at Kenyatta University to study education, but deep down she knew she didn't belong there. She wasn't passionate about teaching, and she even once admitted that while she respected the profession, it wasn't her calling. And so, she decided to drop out to fully focus on content creation. It was a risky move, especially in a country where creative careers are rarely encouraged. But for Gatwiri, it paid off almost immediately. She began posting skits on TikTok, and the response was overwhelming. She had over 200,000 followers, a massive number by Kenyan standards, and she was consistently making content, even doing collaborations with other content creators like Alex Mathenge, Dana Daisy, and Chira, which boosted her career. That brand eventually landed her a spot on a TV show, The Real Housewives of Kawangware, a once popular TV comedy series. But while everything looked perfect from the outside, something unexpected happened. In late October 2024, just days before her death, close friends said she had fallen slightly ill. It wasn't that serious. She was communicating as usual, and people assumed it was just normal and she'll be okay. But then, Gatwiri went quiet. Her brother became concerned after multiple calls and texts went unanswered. Eventually, he went to check on her, and that's when he found her lifeless body. The news was confirmed later that day. Tabitha Gatwiri had passed away. Initial reports called it a sudden illness, but her family soon released more details. A post-mortem conducted at Kenyatta University Funeral Home revealed that she died from something called positional asphyxia, a rare condition where someone suffocates because of the way their body is positioned. It typically happens when the chest or neck is compressed, preventing normal breathing. In Tabitha's case, it caused swelling in the brain and ultimately her death. The family also revealed that toxicology tests were underway to rule out any other possible causes, including poisoning. The explanation was clinical, but for our fans and fellow creators, it still didn't make sense. How could someone who was so energetic be gone so suddenly? But sadly, she was dead and was eulogized by many people, like fellow comedians like Naomi Kuria, of course their fans also. Even Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka spoke out saying she was a young woman determined to change the world for the better. On November 15th, Tabitha Gatwiri was laid to rest at her father's home in Meru County. The following year, which is now 2025, another TikToker died, and that's Liz Kamene, who died in a road accident. And of all the stories today, her story is more painful, and we'll find out why shortly. But first, who was she? Liz Kamene was not that big on TikTok. On TikTok, people knew her as Kamba Icon KE and had around 80,000 followers. And she wasn't doing much. She was just doing ordinary things that most people do on TikTok. Dancing, posting pictures, and just having fun. But on March 13th, 2025, everything changed. Liz was near Kariobangi roundabout in Nairobi when someone snatched her phone. She didn't just stand there. She ran after the thieves, and that's when a speeding car hit her. The driver never stopped, and Liz was badly hurt. She lost her arm and her leg. But what shocked people most is what happened next. Instead of people helping her, some people just stood there. They pulled out their phones and started recording her. No one covered her. No one tried to save her. She was lying there in pain and they just filmed. And that's what made Kenyans really angry. She didn't deserve to die like that, and she didn't deserve to be recorded while dying. Her story reminded people of Chira, another TikToker who also died in a hit and run just a year before. After hearing all these stories, you have to ask yourself, why are so many Kenyan TikTokers dying? Millie Wadok, Baba Mona, Chira, Chongin, Liz Kamene, they were young, vibrant, and entertaining people. And all gone. And in most cases, the cause is almost the same. A tragic accident. Is it just bad luck or a coincidence? Or could it be something deeper? Now, there are some people who believe that TikTok is cursed. Yeah, that sounds crazy at first, but when you look at the pattern, how fast it's happening, how similar the endings are, it stops sounding like a joke and start feeling like a warning. Personally, I don't know what to believe. I'm not here to spread fear or conspiracy theories. But what I do know is this: something is very wrong. We've lost too many. Chira, Millie Wadok, Liz Kamene, Chongin, and others whose names you don't know because they didn't go viral. It's painful and it's terrifying because we're not just here talking about influencers or clout. We are talking about people. People with families, dreams, and futures. People who made us laugh, cry, or feel seen on the internet, and they disappeared. So whether it's a curse, a coincidence, or just a cruel reality of the times we live in, this pattern hurts. To Chira, Millie Wadok, Liz Kamene, Chongin, and everyone else we've lost, may you rest in peace. And to those still here, still creating, still entertaining, we hope you stay safe because honestly, we don't want to say goodbye to another TikToker. Not again. Thanks for watching up to this point, and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think of the video. And with that, let's meet in the next video.